Hello and welcome. Today we're working on the operating activities using the direct method. This is the first time we've used the direct method for calculating operating activities cash flow. So this is using the full income statement. It's the same problem as the previous problem, exercise 13.4, but we're using the direct rather than the indirect. Hey, if you're new, my name is Jeff. I teach a lot of accounting, a lot of finance, and right now we're in the full managerial accounting course. So please like, comment, subscribe, join us. Let's get started. So here's my problem it's the same problem we had in exercise 13.4, but now I'm asking you to say, let's calculate using the direct method. So we have a full income statement. We have a full income statement, revenue, cost of goods sold, gross profit. We've got S&A expenses, the operating expenses. We have salaries expense, depreciation expense. Depreciation expense, non-cash. We're going to ignore it here. We're getting the direct method. Amortization expense is non-cash. We're going to ignore it also for the direct method. We have rent expense, utilities expense, and then we have a gain down at the bottom. And so we have our net income of $490,000. We also have some additional balance sheet information. We have two assets, one goes up, one goes down. We have two liabilities, one goes up, one goes down. So now here is the idea for the cash flows from operating activities under the direct method. So we need to figure out things like cash received from customers, cash paid to suppliers, cash paid for salaries, cash paid for rent and utilities. I'm just calling them rent expense and utility expense, but you could put cash paid for, operating expenses, and you could put, all three here together, but they're separate. Let's keep them separate here. So here's what we need to do. The other thing is we also have a check figure. The answer needs to be $540,900 because that's the indirect method. That's the answer. We get the same answer whether we do direct or indirect. So here's our kind of helper formats. So I've just put this down here for you. So let's just work it one by one. So cash received from customers, we're going to take sales and then plus or minus any change in accounts receivable. So we've collected, the total sales or the total sales revenue, and then there's a little bit difference if we have accounts receivable. If the accounts receivable goes up, we didn't collect all the sales. If the accounts receivable goes down, we collected all the sales plus a little bit more. Let me show you how this works. So you really need these little formats, so make sure you take good notes. Remember, note takers are money makers. I saw that in a video one day, and that made me laugh, but that really is true. So note takers are money makers. So let's make some money. So our revenue is $1,922,000. Now, why is that not our cash received? Well, we also have accounts receivable. Let me grab the accounts receivable and let's think about it for just a minute. Increase in accounts receivable is $30,500. Now, here's what you have to think about. Did this mean we collected $30,000 more because our accounts receivable went up? Would you rather have cash going up or accounts receivable going up? Well, you'd rather have a cash going up. Increase in accounts receivable means we have decrease in cash. So we're going to take this and make it a negative. So this reduces our cash by $30,000. We collected all $1,922,000 except for the $30,000. And I'm going to add this up. And so it looks like cash received from customers is $1,891,500. So that's how we get cash received from customers. Now, one of the tricky things about this is a positive, cash received. These other four things are all going to be negative numbers that come in to try to calculate everything here. All right, so let's switch over to cash paid to suppliers. Now this one's a little bit tricky because we're going to start with cost of goods sold plus or minus the change in inventory. Did we buy more inventory or our inventory went down a little bit? And then plus or minus the change in accounts payable. What we're trying to do is take the accrual numbers, like for cost of goods sold, and convert them into cash numbers. So we have to do a little investigation, a little what if, a little, trying to figure out CSI, cash flow kind of thing. All right, so our cost of goods sold, we're going to take and grab that number way up top is $1,044,000. Now we're going to do the change in inventory. Okay, let me grab that and let's think about it. Decrease in inventory. Now what's that going to do? Did we buy more inventory or did we use up inventory? Well, we didn't buy more inventory. If we bought more inventory, our cash payments would go up. Now remember, this is cash payments. If we decided to pull back a little bit and not buy as much cash, then that reduces our cash payment, which is a good thing. The tricky thing here is this is a payment we paid to cash suppliers. So this total is going to be a negative up here when we get to the direct method. We're going to do the same thing with change in accounts payable. Accounts payable increase accounts payable. So let's think about this. If accounts payable goes up, then we're reducing our cash payment. So we're going to make this a negative number. It's very backwards. You have to kind of think through this. If you go to Target and you spend $100, you don't have to say, I spent a negative $100. We know that you spent $100. When I go to Target, they never give me money, right? I'm giving them money. That's just the way it works. However, if we did something and we put it on account for some reason at a store, not at Target necessarily, but increase in accounts payable means we bought things, we haven't paid the cash, so our cash payment is down a little bit. So here is our total cash payment to suppliers. Looks like it's $1,006,500. Okay, so you have to be careful and think through it. You could develop rules, but to me the rules are hard to figure out. You just figure out inventory and accounts payable, the change, and kind of think through it, and you'll get there. Does this increase our payments, decrease our payments? So this is cash paid to supplier. This is going to go up here as a negative number, cash paid to suppliers. Now we got one more that we have to kind of figure out, and this is cash paid for salaries. Now we're going to start with salary expense. So our salary expense is way up here somewhere, $254,600, and the change in salaries payable. Now let's look at change in salaries payable. Decrease in salaries payable. Now, what makes salaries go down? Salaries payable go down. We paid cash, so therefore this is going to be an increase in our payments. So our total payments for our salaries are $258,100. Now we have two other things. We have rent. Let's go back and look at, here's how I know this. Let's go back and look here. We've included our revenue. We've got our revenue, our full amount. We've got our cost of goods sold, salaries expense, depreciation. Why are we going to ignore this? Because this is non-cash. Doesn't affect cash payments, cash receipts. This also is non-cash. So we've handled salaries. We still need rent expense and we need utility expense. And we're going to not use the gain because the sale of machinery is an investing activity. That will come through on the investing activity section. All right, so we got two more things. Rent expense is $66,000. So rent expense, I'm going to just type it in if that's okay, $66,000. And our utility expense is $20,000. So those are our two numbers. So now we've kind of built the pieces. We just need to put all the pieces together. So what is the cash received from customers? Well, it's going to be what we calculated, $1,891,500. And then cash paid to suppliers. Well, this is going to be a negative amount for cash, right? So negative $1,006,500. So we're coming out with our cash paid to suppliers, cash paid for salaries. We calculated $258,100, so that's the amount for salaries. And then rent expense is going to be negative $66,000, and utility expense is negative $20,000. All right, so here's what our cash flow from operating activities looks like under the direct method. So let's add all this up. And we should get 540,900. We got it. So here's how you calculate the direct method. Direct method, you're always figuring out cash received from customers, cash paid to suppliers, and then you got to look at all the other things like salary expense, rent expense, utilities expense, tax expense, all those that are cash payments, we have to include that. So here's how you do the direct method. Make sure you study this, make sure you go back and verify how you get the numbers, the plus, the minus. It's all a little bit confusing. Just lay it out and be organized, and this is how you do the direct method. Now the direct method is easier to read, but it's kind of harder to do. You see how it's harder to do? So most companies, about 95% of companies, use the indirect method. They start with net income and then convert. Only about 5% of the U.S. companies do the direct. And so now you know why. But you can do both the indirect and the direct, and you're good to go. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.